So hello everyone, this is your Krishna from Women Today YouTube channel. So in this channel, we have been interviewing many women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India. We are traveling to different cities and we are doing offline interviews, and we are also doing online interviews across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So today's our guest is from Baltimore, United States of America, and her name is Sujasha Gupta Verna. So I hope I'm pronouncing her name in the right way. So she is a very famous neuroscientist over there. So I welcome you, Sujasha ma'am, to this Women Today YouTube channel. So please kindly introduce about yourself, about the kind of work that you're doing to the audience who are watching this interview right now, ma'am.
First of all, thank you so much, Krishna, for inviting me to this channel, and I'm really grateful and honored to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Sujasha Gupta Waka, and I am a neuroscientist who works to help the lives of military people in the United States. Prior to that, I did my postdoctoral work at Johns Hopkins and got training in neuroscience and how we can shape our memory under different conditions of neurodegeneration. But I would like to say you, my background has been very non-linear, where I actually am an engineer by my training, and I'm a mechanical engineer by my PhD. But I did computational neuroscience as part of my thesis, so that's how I got my gateway into neuroscience. And since then, it's been 6 years or 7 years, 6+ years since I have been dealing with neuroscience. So, and here I am, and I'm very passionate about how to improve mental health with with the tools of neuroscience and how to help people to overcome their trauma.
That's a great introduction. Of course, every person's life in this world is totally non-linear. They will be following their passions and they'll be focusing on the profession which is totally unrelated. And of course, each and every typical Indian family do want their kids to enroll into engineering. Then they can just do follow the passion. And of course, I think you founded your passion towards neuroscience once you did your engineering. Of course, I'm also an engineering student. I did my electronics and communication, and later I just wanted to join the media, and things went like this. And right now I'm here interviewing persons, different professionals across different countries in the world. So yeah. So also tell us, ma'am, what is the basic thing about neuroscience? Because before starting with the interview, people do not, do wanted to know about the term called neuroscience. Of course, most of the people will know, but what is the simple thing that you wanted to talk about neuroscience, ma'am?
So, in simple layman terms, neuroscience it's actually a combination of physics, chemistry, biology of the cells in our brain, which are the neurons, and how they interact with each other, how they communicate with each other, how their communication affects our overall mental state. So it's neuroscience is not just one branch of science, it's a combination of all branches of science, I would say, and it involves a lot of mathematics. So it's a very multidisciplinary field of science.
Yeah, I do understand that combination of everything is neuroscience, but in still, if you want to make it still more clear, so in what terms or where do we actually have this neuroscience to be implemented in our life, like where it will be useful and where it can be incorporated in day-to-day life, ma'am?
Oh, neuroscience is there in every action we do in our life, starting from what you want to eat, how you are sleeping, how you are remembering, how you are interacting with people, how you are managing stress in your life, how you are handling your job, your family, your pretty much every actions, everything that you do in your daily life is guided by principles of neuroscience. We are essentially, in my world, I say humans are like chemical robots. We have dopamine, we are guided by chemicals in our brain: dopamine, serotonin, GABA, and so many other neurotransmitters. These are the main ones, and these affect our mood, our levels of energy, our motivation, our our likelihood to make friends with people, our likelihood to become successful in our life. So our confidence levels. Neuro so neuroscience, this is all of the chemicals talking with each other, with all the cells in our brain, and that emerges consciousness. And I don't want to go into the spiritual realm, but neuroscience is very much connected to the spiritual realm in the sense that when we talk about consciousness, it's actually a collective activity of all the neurons, the cells in your brain, and how it's like a dance that's happening in your brain. So neuroscience is in fact applicable to, I have made several videos to explain people about neuroscience, but it goes down to the smallest things like what clothes you want to wear, to deeper things, how you handle a difficult coworker, so or how you handle your family life. So neuroscience has a place in every part of our life.
So, of course, neuroscience, as you told, it's a combination of everything, and it plays a vital part in our day-to-day mental health, because the balance of serotonin, the balance of dopamine secretion, of course, it has to be at the right level. If one doesn't have any kind of enough dopamine secreted when they achieve success, then that person will not be even having any kind of motivation to achieve success, not only in one situation but also in other situation. Because if they do not get any kind of dopamine when they achieve success, I think that will not create any kind of motivation for them. So in the same way, each and every kind of hormone secretion is connected with some other kind of mental health things. So tell us, ma'am, you in between you are also telling that neuroscience can help in stress and anxiety. So tell us, how can one person, how can a neuroscientist guide a person who is suffering from stress and anxiety? Because stress is something like people which they fear, which exists as a bridge between something which we have to do and something which we are not doing. Like, so there is something to do and we are in a position that what will happen if not going to do, what will happen if we even try our level best and we are not able to achieve it. So there will be a lot of confusions, so that as a final result it will lead to stress. And also the physical stress,
Right.
mental stress, there are different kind of stress that we are going to talk about. So tell us, how can neuroscience, because no need to talk about physical stress, first let us focus on the part called mental stress. So tell us, ma'am, how can, being a neuroscientist, you can treat a person who is going through a lot of stress? And also speaking about anxiety, anxiety is something like, of course, a person can have anxiety in different levels. Like, consider if a person is not having a good relationship with their partners, they'll be having anxiety. That's a called relationship anxiety. And consider if a person is going to attend an interview, and if they're feeling like, okay, I'm just going to have my interview, so what if I'm not going to crack it? I will not land in my dream job, which will secure me like lakhs per annum, like crores per annum. So stress and anxiety comes in different levels. So tell us a common tip which you can tell to the person who is watching this interview, so that they can reduce their stress and anxiety. Of course, they can actually they can't eliminate it, but they can actually reduce it. So tell us any tips that you wanted to tell now.
Sure, those are some great insights and questions, and these are the things that commonly plague our world. And with every day, every person faces this in their job and their personal life. So, like you mentioned, stress. So, one of the things that you mentioned, like you want to start something, but you're not able to do it, and how they go, and how that can even cause anxiety because you're not able to start it and not able to finish it. So, that's a thing called, we say, procrastination. So, and that comes from the neuroscience. So, let me first tell you the associated reasons that neuroscientists think, and then I can give you the tips how you can overcome them. So, what happens is when you are procrastinating, you have this paralyzing feeling like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to succeed. Maybe I'm not going to be my perfect self. Maybe your mind is connected into this feedback loop of negative thoughts. And when you have these negative thoughts, you are reinforcing them again and again, and you're not able to come back to the positive thoughts. Like, change, you have to reframe the question in this case, like saying that, what if it goes wrong? What if I'm not successful? What if I am not my best, my perfect self? Reframe it. What if I am? What if I can be successful? Just change it. And what it does is, instead of activating the fear circuits, the circuits that are, which is associated with amygdala, your brain then activates, makes new pathways, and these new pathways will generate this new hormones and will boost dopamine in your brain and will give you confidence, will give you the motivation to start it in the first place. So, like again, you mentioned, like, let's talk about mental stress, but what about the physical stress? Again, mental stress and physical stress go hand in hand. They are so relate, like our heart rate can control the way our brain is secreting these neurotransmitters. We call that autonomic nervous system. So our heart rate, our breathing, our heart, the how variable the heart rate is, that all of these affect the way our hormones, our brain nuclei are getting activated or inactivated. So, the physical way that you can actually calm yourself down, I'm sure people already know this, but I just want to reinforce this idea again, like breathing. Studies have shown that deep breathing actually helps a lot to combat the stress, especially when you breathe in terms of like 4 seconds of inhaling and 6 seconds of exhaling. You are training, you're tuning your mind to your body. And it's not just breathing like in a regulated manner that helps reduce the heart rate. Breathing itself has an effect on removing the inflammation in your brain, and not just your brain, in your body. And inflammation, one of the ways inflammation is caused is by the stress hormone cortisol. So whenever you're stressed, you release tons of cortisol, and that creates, that adds on to this negative feedback loop and gives you physical pains as well. So if you try to do deep breathing, you're reducing those cortisol levels. Another thing that you can do is practice mindfulness. Mindfulness, if you're aware of what is going on, instead of trying to chase, ruminate over thoughts, chase the thoughts, and going in a loop, not ending anywhere, try to just be aware. These are the thoughts. Instead of fighting them, just acknowledge them. And once you acknowledge them, you will feel like a huge piece of rock has been removed from your head, or from your chest. You will feel that. And so practice mindfulness. And it doesn't have to be long, just 5 to 10 minutes a day. And if you can do that along with breathing, even better. And other things I would recommend is things that can help improving your autonomic nervous system, such as your heart rate and breathing. So you can listen to music. Music is considered a very good exercise. If you can sing, it's even better, because when you're singing, you're lighting up so many circuits in your brain, you're activating so much release of different neurotransmitters, endorphins, dopamine, that you feel so confident and so activated. So learn music or listen music, either of those should work. Then you can even do like small activities that involve using your, or involve in usage of your the circuits, the movement circuits. So when you are your cerebellum essentially. So when you are actually doing some things with your hands, like anything with like a tactile experience, you're doing it with your hands, that tactile experience essentially calms your nerves down. It gives you, it has a calming effect, just like music has, just like art has. So in my opinion, you can do any of these things. And the last thing that I think all scientists agree, and I think everybody should do after a certain age, not only just for their mental health, but for the physical health, is exercise. You have to exercise in some form, because Exercise is not only about keeping yourself fit physically, it keeps you fit mentally as well. It releases all these endorphins that flushes out the toxins from your body and from your mind. So exercise. So that would be my suggestions to combat mental health issues. So stress can be like this circuits in our brain that are activated by stress can all be down regulated by these practices that we can do without going to a therapist and paying huge amount of bills to the therapist. If you can try these and see and do it at home, you will see a major difference in your life. And of course, I'm not saying therapists are not helpful, they're very helpful. But if it's a condition that can be treated just by self care, try that first.
Of course, that's a wonderful kind of explanation. We had a elaborate kind of things explained in a very nice manner. The thing is that the very first thing you told about reducing your physical stress is by doing a kind of breathing exercise. That's called pranaya. That's forward from your natural Indian styles. And what we have to do is take a deep breath, inhale, exhale slowly. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing that I was subconsciously doing in the middle of the interview. Like, if you want to control the level of cortisol, which is secreted out, if you have to control it, we have to do this pranaya exercise, that is breathing exercise, which will help us reduce stress. And also at the same time, the second thing, which you told, the music. Music is not only for humans; it's even for animals. Consider I'll tell you one small story. It was narrated by the great legend Amitabh Bachchan. I think I have heard it from a video, but I'm not sure whether he addressed it or by someone else. But I'll tell you one instant via which I can prove that music is really good not only for humans but also for animals. There was an elephant which had recently the elephant lost its cub, like a small elephant, like its kid. So what happened is that the elephant was going rogue, and it was destroying every trees, every materials here and there. And after 2 days, 3 days, they were not able to control it, but they made sure that okay, it will not come to the populated area; it will be remaining in the forest. But what happened during the fourth day? That elephant came to a theater which was very nearby, but it will come for the 3 hours single movie. It will come only for 5 minutes, only for that particular 5 minute scene. That 5 minute scene was a very popular song. To hear that song, to hear that person singing, because it doesn't know that what's happening inside the theater, but it hears the music. It comes and stands in front of that. So it did for the entire, like, the movie ran each and every day, like for around 50, 60 days. I'm not sure of the count numbers, but for each and every day, till the movie was removed from the theater, the elephant came to the theater, stood outside without harming anybody, listened to that music only for the particular 5 minutes, that song. Then it back to that forest. So it's a very wonderful kind of example that you gave. Of course, music will actually play a vital part in the neuroscience department, because recently I have also seen, recently I saw, last week I saw on video, like in Instagram. What happened is that there was one violinist. He was just going in front of the zoo. There will be a lot of creatures like lion, giraffe, zebra, rhinoceros. And even rhinoceros, whenever he started playing violins, the rhinoceros will be roaming over there, and it will be coming in front, and it will be hearing that music. So it in turn, it proves that, of course, not only humans, but to be even more specific, each and every music has certain vibration, certain frequency, certain hertz, which will actually connect to us. Which certain music will make us depressed, certain music will make us elevated, certain music will feel us like the powerful man on earth, the powerful woman on earth. So that's
Yes.
how this music and this neuroscience department is totally connected, interconnected to each other. The neurons, the kind of
Yes.
thinking, it's actually
Yes.
totally interconnected. So that's a wonderful explanation which you gave, that music plays a very vital role. And the last one, exercise. Of course, people should do a regular exercise in order to avoid stress and anxiety. Even small exercise like this. This is a very small exercise. What happens is that when you're doing this exercise, we are just raising our hands, our blood, it will flow into the heart. It will be flowing. Once we raise our hands, it will be flowing into the heart, and via this we can actually have a good pumping of blood circulation in the heart. And instead of getting heart attacks, as you told, that of course there are treatments which who are great specialists, like great cardiologists, great therapists, but instead of going and spending them in euros, in dollars, in money, in rupees, so we can just do a small exercise, we can just do a breathing exercise, we can listen to music. So I think
Yeah.
these are the best ways to control stress and anxiety. So the other part is, tell us, ma'am, what is the most common thing which causes this mental health issues to people? And also tell us, how does that affect the functionality of the brain? Because people always think that mental health issues affect our heart, but it affects our brain in terms of its functions. Tell us kindly, how can it affects the functionality of the brain, ma'am?
Sure. So, some of the common health issues that occur in people are like depression and anxiety. You can have generalized anxiety disorder or major depressive disorder or just general depression as well. But there are some serious, more complicated cases of mental health conditions, such as you can, if you had some trauma in your life and that trauma really like an accident, or you were abused when you were a kid, then those trauma can give you nightmares, and that we call as post-traumatic stress disorder. You get those nightmares anytime you wake up. So that has both mental symptoms and also a physical symptom. Other mental health conditions are like you can have OCD, or which is compulsive disorder, or you can have general you can have schizophrenia, not general, it's a schizophrenia, but which you can be delusional and you can think that the world is coming after you. So there are a range of mental health conditions that are there, and some of them are related to genetics and some of them are related to epigenetics. Just the way we had an environmental, our social cues shaped us to actually make our brain hyperactive. The amygdala gets hyperactive, you get hyper arousal. You always think that you are under judgment or you are under some sort of scrutiny, and that will create some sort of imbalance in your brain in terms of. So what happens is, when you are repeatedly, like I said before, like depression for example, if you say, or anxiety, you are caught up in a loop, this negative feedback loop, and your hormones, other neurotransmitters are just feed forwarding that loop, giving more, like it's giving more food to that loop, so it's kind of, it's getting the energy from it. So, and think of this as how it's affecting the synaptic plasticity in your brain. So think of it as like a road has been made, and if you keep on traveling on that road again and again and again, you make that road a habit. So if you keep on traveling down the road of negative feedback loop, ruminating thoughts, and people are coming to, attack you, or the world is against you, then you create this automatic thought process, automatic habit in your life that generates more stress, more anxiety, more depression, and then you just go on in that cycle. But instead, what you can do is start journaling, start writing it down. What is exact? So it's all happening in the subconscious after some time. It's like autopilot. So you can start journaling and you can start writing it down and start a communication between your subconscious and the conscious mind. But coming to the point of how these mental health conditions are affecting the brain function, well, the mental health, like they are causing an imbalance of all these chemicals in your brain. So they are affecting your cognitive flexibility. You are able to not make proper decisions. You are able to, because you're fearing, right? Something wrong is going to happen. They're affecting your emotional resilience, because you have been affected so many times that you are totally shattered every time a new thing happens. So you're not resilient emotionally. Not only that, they affect your general um, bonding with your social environment. So if you faced something kind of an abandonment or betrayal or social isolation as a kid, you have bonding issues when you grow up. You cannot make friends. So it starts affecting those circuits, those bonding circuits, the circuits that release oxytocin, which is the bonding chemical. It down regulates that. So so I would say mental health conditions affect a variety of things, and people say that, oh, it's just all in your head, just snap out of it, you'll be fine, you'll be good to go. But that's not the case. It's just like breaking a bone in your leg. You need time to heal. And that healing process can only happen if you open the communication as between your subconscious and your conscious mind, telling the conscious mind that no, I'm not going to go down that path. It gives me problems. Takes me down a rabbit hole where I cannot come out of. Take me to a path that is more positive, that changes my view of the world. And you have to do that consciously. Try to override your default mode network, your subconscious brain. And you that takes practices. That takes a lot of practice. That takes therapy, that takes journaling, that takes self care. And you have to start. And another thing that happens with mental health is your brain tries to overcompensate. Like if some part of your brain is underregulated and the other part of the brain is activated, your brain tries to overcompensate for it. Like, okay, this part is not working. Maybe my if my amygdala is hyperactive, I'm gonna try to use all the brain doesn't know what is good or bad. Like, it just knows action. If this action is being done repeatedly, I'll just keep doing it repeatedly. If I'm given a feedback for it, if I'm given a reward for it, I'll just do it. It's a code essentially. So you have to, and sometimes that code runs on autopilot. So you have to tell it consciously, your brain, that okay, let's break this code right now. Let's debug it. And therapy, journaling are all actions of debugging that code and rewriting it, because your brain again is very adaptable. It's very moldable. You can always change it, but it takes a lot of practice. It takes help. It takes medications. It takes treatments, and all sorts of physical activities that we can do to change those balance of chemicals. Like I earlier said, we are all chemical robots, in my opinion. It's a beautiful dance of neurotransmitters that happen in our brain that govern our activation and inactivation of circuits. So you have to maintain that balance. And to do that, there are several ways to do it. But once that balance is disturbed by mental health conditions, it affects the entire functionality. The entire dance is changed.
So totally, it's like basically a pyramid of cards. So if you remove one
Yes.
card, then the total system will collapse. So basically, you told that, yeah, of course, the balancing between different chemicals which is released in the form of hormones is should be done at the very perfect level. If it's not done, then there will be irregularity because of it, which will cause a lot of damage, which will affect the functionality of the brain. So it's basically like what to say. Consider a person who has OCD. OCD is something like very it's like totally like there are different types of OCD. What we can tell? There used to be a person who is going outside and they'll be coming back to the home, checking the doors whether the door is locked or not. They'll be doing it for 20 times. They'll be doing it till the end of the day. So that's how it will impact. And there are certain OCDs where people will feel that okay, I have to do it again and again, but I do not know why, because it may be because of the past trauma. As you said, when a kid is facing trauma during its younger age, because no one is going to talk to them. If they talk, they're going to bully them, they're going to hurt them, then they will not be talking till the end of their life, because the certain trauma will which will affect the neurons in the brains. It will snap, and till the end of the life it will be snapped. So that's how things goes on. And this is totally related to OCD. Tell me, ma'am, so what are some common symptoms of mental health conditions? Because most of the people will not be aware of that they are already in at a age that they should get treatment. So there will be a lot of small symptoms which they should take care of. So tell us, what are the small symptoms that one should take care of in order to identify that they have some kind of imbalance in the mental health, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are mental health conditions can manifest themselves as mental health some like your habits changes or in your physical symptoms as well. Just like I said, you might experience a very higher heart rate and you do not know what exactly is going on. So that's one of the symptoms. But one of the common things that people keep thinking are like, if that means your brain is crying out for help, is if you have these thoughts that are constantly ruminating inside your head and you do not know how to get out of it. And sometimes you might feel that the world is at end, you feel hopeless, if you feel like you cannot get up from the bed and you're not motivated enough to even brush your teeth or get a shower, that means you're suffering from something. And some of the things like, if you're getting regularly less and less sleep, that also means that something is, your brain is again saying that, okay, please help me out, I need to sleep properly, because that's affecting your overall health issues. So other things could be you are just in a constant state of worry. You're just worrying instead of doing things. And you're worrying so much that you're not able to do anything. That's again another symptom. Another thing could be you are feeling like you don't have interest in doing activities that you had an interest early on. So you feel like this is not interesting anymore. That means you're going through depression. Um, so there are many variety of ways you can actually catch these symptoms in your day-to-day life. If you're not able to get up from bed, if you're not able to connect with your friends, if you're not able to perform as you used to perform at your work, if you are constantly in chronic state of stress where you are not able to be productive, and then you're suffering from some sort of generalized anxiety disorder, or some, if in some cases, can be a major depressive disorder as well. And um, and on top of that, if you do not get enough sleep, or if you do not eat properly, if you have lost your appetite, that's another symptom of having, some sort of mental health condition is emerging. So you will notice, if you and a brain is so amazing, which we call as, you get this feeling, the gut feeling, and the gut will tell you something is wrong, this is not who you were originally, you are doing things that you never thought of doing, or you are not even doing things that a normal person should be doing. So listen to your body. Listen to your body, listen to your brain. They will give you indications. And you can see these indications in your everyday activities. And if you notice that, then seek for help. Look for a trusted friend or a counselor or a therapist, or start exercising. The basic thing. Start exercising and start doing yoga and breathing, and you will notice this. If you start your morning with yoga and deep breathing, you'll automatically get motivation to brush your teeth, to take a shower, to go to work. You will notice that difference. So Yeah.
So yeah, these are normal things. So also tell us, is there any kind of alternative therapies to deal with mental health issues?
Alternative therapies, uh, you can try acupuncture. It can help in some of the physical symptoms like pain and inflammation, and that has been directly shown to, and can also actually improve sleep. So you can try that, because sleep again overall ties together towards better mental health. So that is one. Other alternative therapies, I think we have covered all the alternative therapies like exercise or yoga, and I would, swimming is again another exercise, but that is just another form of exercising your mind and body. So singing and dancing. Dancing is another great way. It's an exercise, and it's also your brain goes in the rhythm, like the frequency that you were talking, which is in singing. Your brain grows in that rhythm. So dancing is another alternative way. So there are these things that you can, these hobbies you can actually cultivate to get rid of some of your, to help alleviate some of the symptoms that you face because of reduced mental health conditions.
Of course, the great famous superstar Rajnikant, he told in a very famous movie, the movie called Peta, he'll be telling that if you have any kind of depression, the only solution you can just do is listen to your favorite music and dance to it. So you can just make sure that you will be getting out of your depression. So that's a very
Yes.
message which we got from our superstar and also from you, Sujasha ma'am. So that's a great thing, ma'am. So tell us, ma'am, also different thing. What role does sleep play in mental health and emotional well-being? Because of course, sleep helps us in maintaining our physical body, but it plays a very vital term in our mental health. So tell us, how can one sleep help us in maintaining our mental health, ma'am?
So I actually, my day job is I'm a sleep scientist. So I'm a neuroscientist, but I primarily work with people who are having sleep issues and try to treat them with or research them with technology that can help improve their sleep, which can help improve their mental health in the long run. So there are, sleep has different stages associated to it. I'm not going to go into the technicalities of it, but everybody knows the dream state, which is called the rapid eye movement sleep. And it usually happens early in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock. And this dream, we have always been in the constant enigma what the dreams mean. Sometimes you will dream of whatever you learned, you will dream that. Sometimes whatever you have fears, you will dream that. Sometimes it's just random. There's no connection at all and you dream that. And I'm not trying to here explain the significance of dream. What I'm trying to explain is this stage of sleep has been strongly associated or seen in neuroscience for emotional consolidation and forgetting of traumatic memories. So, if you do not get proper REM sleep, you are not able to forget the traumatic memories that have been associated in your life, or you are not able to consolidate the memories or the things that you learned during the day. So, REM sleep especially is very important for emotional health, and so is deep sleep. Studies have found that during deep sleep you clear out toxins from your brain, and these toxins are related to inflammation, and this inflammation have been associated with, so we call this the glymphatic system, which has been recently discovered in since 2012, and that's one of the primary focus of my research. So what happens is, when you clear this brain out of these toxins, that if you do not clear, it leads to neurodegenerate, it can lead to Alzheimer's, much early onset of Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's is, people think okay, dementia, it happens in later age or something, but that's not the case. If you have actually PTSD, you are more susceptible to get Alzheimer's much earlier in life. If you have sleep apnea, you are more susceptible to get Alzheimer's early in life. And know that sleep apnea is associated to insomnia, and insomnia is associated to anxiety and depression. So they have a very multifaceted relationship with each other. One thing affects the other. So sleep has a very strong role in emotional health. And particularly, as I said, these two stages of sleep, your deep sleep and REM sleep. So try to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night, minimum. Keep that as a target. And if even better, try to have a sleep journal for your sake, just to say that how many hours of sleep you actually had and how do you feel this morning. And if you feel, you will see there is a one-to-one correlation. The nights that you get 3 hours or 4 hours of sleep and the next day you feel very much irritable and you don't feel like things are going in sync with you and you're just totally out of place. And this has happened to all of us. We have all faced it. We put an all-nighter for an exam. Has this not happened to it has happened to me. I have pulled an all-nighter for an exam and I did horrible in that exam because I did not consolidate my memories of what I learned. And I was irritable the whole day and the exam did not go well at all. And I was mean with my friends. I was mean with my conversation with my parents. It was just that bad day. And that happens when you are not getting enough sleep. That just happens. That's natural. So try to get 7 hours of sleep and try to journal it and try to track your mood. And you will see there is a one-to-one relationship.
Of course, sleep is very much important in our life. And yeah, during my school days, I also had some kind of sleep deviations. Like I used to sleep at 12, and again I used to wake up at 2 o'clock. So it's like 2 hours of sleep. And what I'll be doing is I'll be making sure my friend is studying, and he'll be giving me a call at 2 o'clock, and he'll be waking me up. So that I was basically a biology student during my high school, and we will be going through the botany and zoology subjects. So what happened is that he'll be sleeping and I'll be waking, like I'll be studying and I'll be waking him up over a call, because during, like, before 10 to 15 years, everything what happened was everything was during a phone conversation. We used to have generate many bills in phones because of our normal regular calls which we do had in those days. So we'll be paying very mighty numbers in our phone bills. So that's how we just studied during those days. And of course, I'll be able to tackle my exams till I finish my exams. Once I head to my home, I'll be like snapped out. So that's how I was just dealing with my exams. And on the other hand, yeah, speaking about rapid eye movement sleep, REM sleep. I have heard certain scientists, I'm not sure, but I have heard in certain things, like even Albert Einstein, he used to have some paper pen with him. He used to do some REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. He doesn't go to the deep sleep, but he makes sure that he stays like conscious during his sleep, so that he'll be able to remember some kind of ideas in his dreams, so that he'll make sure that he remembers it, and he'll be making sure that he is not in subconscious but in the conscious mind. He is able to connect with him in the dream. He used to live in the dream, and via it he will be able to kind of fetch solutions for his complicated problems. So once
Yeah.
getting out of the dream, he used to suddenly, because that's why he keeps his pen and paper with him, he used to write each and every formulas. Yeah, that's the answer for it, because he used to do this kind of sleep. I do not know whether it's true or not. Because you're basically a neuroscientist, I'm just asking you, is this true?
This is true.
Yeah,
This is a term, there's a term for it, and they call it lucid dreaming, where
yeah,
you're
lucid.
aware,
Yeah, that's the right term,
where
lucid.
you're aware what you're dreaming.
Exactly, exactly. Because yeah, because yeah, during of course, even I do believe, and I have even felt in my real life, whatever I have dreamt in my 5 o'clock early morning sleep, it has happened in my real life in some other way. I used to tell people that this is going to happen. Yeah, that has happened, because I have had that dream. Once that dream, like at 5 o'clock, I used to wake up at 5, and I'll be seeing my phone. Yeah, it's 5. Then it's going to happen. So this is how I think there is some kind of things which is connected, and this is totally a different world. And lucid dreaming is totally a different world, because we will be able to make sure that we are aware in the dream. We were able to feel something in the dream. So there is a lot of dreamings happening. Like there is a certain dream is called astral kind of dreaming. In astral things
Astral
that
projection.
yeah, astral projection. That's a very different kind of dream. What will be happening is that I'll be sleeping and I'll be thinking like, okay, I'll be getting out of my body. I'll be wandering in my room, like I'll be flying and I'll be seeing my own self. And they are sleeping, but I'm flying over here. So I have come out of my body. My soul has come out of my body. Oh my God. But it's a very good feel. I'll be able to float here and there. And I'll be going back to my sleep. And I'll be waking up again. And I used to think that, okay, that's a purpose. That's a kind of different sleep. That's a kind of different dream. But when I was speaking to a person, I think she's a very famous hypnotherapist. And when I saw some Instagram videos and YouTube videos, yeah, then that was a real kind of astral projection which I had in my very own life. So yeah, these kind of things do happen in our real life. So yeah, that's a great thing which we discussed about how dreams can actually play very vital part in our life, ma'am. So now moving on to the next question. So tell us, what do you really mean by brain stimulation therapy, and tell us how does this brain stimulation therapy will actually work, ma'am?
Yes, like we covered earlier, brain stimulation is essentially like giving small amounts of electric fields or magnetic fields, or in case ultrasound waves, to activate or inactivate different circuits in your brain. So you can activate different nuclei, you can upregulate or downregulate some of. So if there's an imbalance where some nuclei like amygdala in case of PTSD is hyperactive, you can downregulate it by giving some stimulation, either electrical or magnetic or ultrasound. And the way, so our brain is like they say, it's not, they say it's a computer, but it's much more than a computer, I believe, because, and scientists also believe, because of the connections that it does. It has this parallel computing capacity, but essentially in its core it's a computing system, maybe a quantum computing system, and to which is managed by electromagnetic fields and chemicals. And there are, you can modulate it chemically, or you can modulate it through electrical and magnetic field. And the way all of this work is and the precision of these technologies is by how precisely they can target small regions of the brain such that they can activate only that region and inactivate the other region. So transcranial electrical stimulation is not very localized. It's an overall effect. So it's an overall. So it doesn't target some specific nucleus. So it has a specificity problem, but nevertheless, it is still shown to be effective. Now, to make it even more precise, people use uh, I'm forgetting the term, uh, dialectical electrical ECT electrical. So ECT technique, which is basically applying the electrical current to the brain to reset it. So transcranial electrical stimulation is just small amounts of current, but this is just it's like turning the knob of or the volume high or low, not too much. But ECT is more like resetting the brain, rebooting the system. Then you have these other techniques, which is deep brain stimulation, where you implant the electrodes on inside the skull. These are other techniques that are non-invasive, but there's an invasive process where you implant electrodes inside the skull on the top of the brain, and you directly stimulate some portions of the brain. And this is for used for very severe conditions such as Parkinson's or very severe OCD, where too much of your cells are you need a very precise way to regulate those neurons. So, so yeah, this is how brain stimulation works. Makes the neurons work or change their functionality to make it more balanced. So, and these are the techniques. And I'm sure there are more, but these are the ones that are validated so far in the scientific literature. And sky is the limit. We are just with newer and newer advancements that we're doing with AI and everything. We are just gonna uncover new methods of modulating the brain function.
Of course, whatever you told was absolutely correct, and it's 100% it's true. Of course, there are different computers. There are quantum computers. There are supercomputers. Now there is a very like I do not want to go it in a very deeper technical one, but whatever computers are yet to be found, they're actually a little bit less than our human brains because we actually
That is
create the computers.
exactly right.
So that's the real thing. And also at the same time, we speaking about ECT. That's we're speaking about ECT. We give some kind of small kind of impulse to our brain so that it will activate some of the things which we lag. I think I used to remember certain movies in which some comedy movies. What happened is that that comedian, that he's a Tamil comedian. He is Vadivel, and what he will be doing is he'll be tuning it, and he'll be going from 10, 20, 30, 40, and he'll be seeing the patient. That patient will not be having even a little flinch in his eyes. But okay, let me just do myself, and he'll be connecting all the instruments to himself, and he'll be asking his assistant to go from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. He will be asking him to go to 80, but nothing will be happen. But at one point of time, what will be happening is they didn't turn on the switch. Once the turn on the switch, then everything goes off. That's a little comedy, but I'm just telling it to make sure that yeah, ECT people are aware, but they are not aware of the term called ECT. They must have
Yeah.
seen the things, but they are not able to recall. I mean, they are not able to come across this term called ECT. So that's a kind of different kind of thing. But we have actually seen our in our day to day. I mean, I do not want to tell our day to day life, but some point where in our life. So because
Yeah.
yeah,
Because when you have like severe depression, that's when sometimes it is used like it's so much depression that you're not even responding if somebody is talking. That's called like catatonic depression. And in those cases, people use ECT to actually just reset your brain, reboot, recharge it. So, yeah.
each and every treatment must have benefits and risk of different treatment approaches. So tell us, ma'am, when you treat a patient, like when you treat a person who is suffering from certain mental health issues, so having this kind of treatments both have pros and cons, like benefits and also risk. So tell us what are the risks we can expect via doing this kind of treatments to the patients, ma'am.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to clarify to the viewers I am a scientist. Now, so I don't really treat patients, but I do experiments with them and find out which is the right treatment modality. I know, but it is all under ethical considerations and under protocol. So I'm not saying I'm this mad scientist who experiments on people, but what I'm trying to say is I I lay down the research for the medical doctors to actually see that if this treatment is feasible and that can be applied in a general setting. So, and our treatments that we say to the patients are all experimental. So, so I would just like to clarify that. But going back to the question, risks and benefits, right? So the newer technology based treatments that are out, that are coming right now in the last a decade or so, they have, if unless, so they involve very small amounts of current. For example, they require microamp of current is nothing to your brain. So they involve very small amounts of current, or very small amount of electrical fields or magnetic fields or ultrasound intensity. So the side effects that they give or general tingling sensation in your body, or you feel like a little bit of heat on your head, but nothing major. But again, the benefits are also like that. You won't have long lasting benefits. You'll probably have benefits for couple of days. Following that, you'll be more alert, you'll be feeling more active, more energetic. But then once the effect wears off, you have to go back to that treatment, the technology, just like medication. Medication has a half life, right? After the half life is done, you want to take a new you want to give the dose to yourself again. So far, these treatments have, like a deep brain stimulation, have been used extensively actually to treat Parkinson's and severe depression, or obsessive compulsion disorder, and or addiction also, has people have treated that. And so far, it has not shown major side effects like you see in terms of taking medications where you get weight gain, or but some of the things that can happen, and I would like the people to be aware of it, is if not done correctly, because everything has associated risk, right? If for some reason it activated a part of your brain, if the device did not fit your head correctly and it activated something else that you did not intend to do in the first place, it can in start suicidal thoughts, which is a major thing. So you have to, if somebody is already, so we never give these treatments or experimental treatments if somebody is already predisposed to having suicidal thoughts. If somebody is just having normal depression, anxiety, that is okay, or but if you are going through delusions or suicidal thoughts, then in that case, this is because this has not been established yet in the medical field as the gold standard. It is still very much under research. It's only been last 15 years or so that people are actually being aware of it. So it needs a lot of regulation, FDA acceptance, and all the policies in place to actually make sure this can be the standard of care in the hospital setting. But this is like the extreme side effect that I'm talking about. But that happens in 0.00101% of the population. It doesn't happen as general. And with such low probability, I think it's not something that we should be worried about. We should the scientific community, that's why actively is pursuing more and more research on this to establish the validity of these techniques. And I'm hopeful that in the next decade or so, we'll get FDA approval for most of these experimental techniques, that it can be a standard of care for depression per se. So just like how people are now checking on ketamine or psychedelics, and it's not the standard of care as of now, it's just experimental. So uh
Yeah,
yeah.
I do understand about that experimental part, ma'am. So also tell us, how can we develop our own personalized treatment plan? Because most of the people will be expecting something to be like they can select this kind of treatment plans. So tell us about it, personalized treatment plans, ma'am.
Absolutely. I think everybody should, if you're going through some sort of symptoms that say that you feel like you're having mental health conditions, then your personalized treatment should involve a variety of modalities. So, one thing could be wake up in the morning, do some breathing exercises, do some yoga. And other thing could be, um, I would say it depends. So go outside, take a walk in like if you go outside and just sit in the sun, you studies have shown that it improves the serotonin levels in your body, which is the feel good neurochemical. So wake up and do exercise, go out in the sun, exercise your brain by whatever suits you the best, singing, dancing, um, even playing video games. It's like a brain stimulation. If that works for you, just do it. Some sort of way you have to stimulate your brain. And practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is very important because when you're doing mindfulness, you're reorganizing your thoughts. You're stimulating the brain in a way that probably scientists have seen that it very much correlates to transcranial electrical stimulation. You generate this sort of reorganization of your neural circuitry with mindfulness. So, mindfulness meditation, practice that, and have a proper sleep hygiene. So sleep, try to sleep 7 hours a day, but more than 7 hours, what is more important is keep the continuity same. If you are sleeping every day at 9 o'clock and waking up at 4 o'clock, keep that regular, even on weekends. Don't change it because it changes your circadian rhythm. And when the circadian rhythm is changed, things automatically start, your internal clock is making other things go out of place. So keep the continuity. Then I would say maintain proper nutrition. Have a balanced diet, rich in omega 3 fatty acids, rich in vitamins and minerals. And if you're a vegetarian, try to get your protein um, from paneer, from cottage cheese, or from I'm not a vegetarian, so it's a little hard for me to say. I'm a hardcore non-vegetarian, but you can take tofu or you can take chana dal, but I'm not sure what you call that in English. But for the viewers who know what is chickpeas, yes. So you can take chickpeas. So take these lentils. Take have a balanced diet of proteins, veggies, vitamins, minerals, omega 3 fatty acids, and be hydrated. Very important to be hydrated every day. Drink water. So if you if you maintain a good hygiene of your physical health, then your mental health will automatically stay in tune with your physical body, because they are not separate, they are one and the same. And you just have to, and just try to keep this as make this a habit. So if you're not currently doing yoga, wake up every morning and try to do it every single day and make it a habit. So incorporate positive habits and try to rewrite the negative habits that you have. So
Yeah,
that's my suggestion.
that's a good thing, ma'am. So also tell us, ma'am, what is the risk and benefits of psychedelics and ketamine, ma'am?
Yes, that's an interesting thing. And honestly, the benefits of what research has shown has been very promising, like single dose of ketamine, single session of psychedelics with therapy has been shown to get over your depression or addiction. But again, like for example, in psychedelics, if it is not administered properly, if it's not given the right dose, it can have um, negative effect in the sense that you can go, because what happens is psychedelics fire up a lot of your brain. You're, then it's like I said, like how in singing it's like Christmas light. Your brain is lighted up like a Christmas tree. So it's you can have a lot of cross communication between different parts of your brain. So if that cross communication is not done properly, it can lead to negative connections. So it's very important what dose you give and how the dose, during the dose, how the therapy session is maintained.
So
Um,
everything
uh,
has to be done at the right level. That's what you're trying to tell right now.
Exactly. Everything has to be done at the right level, at the right dose. So, but so far the research has shown that the benefits of both ketamine and psychedelics have outweighed the risks. And but future research, a lot of research has to be done to actually validate their effectiveness.
That's great, ma'am. So also tell us what are the most common myths or misconceptions that is dealt with mental health issues, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of misconceptions, and some of the most common misconceptions are mental health is just a state of mind and you can just snap out of it. You are in control, but like I said before, it's just like your leg is broken and you need to physically heal your bone. It's just like that. You have to heal your mind, so you cannot snap out of it. Other misconception are it's if somebody like is addicted, like they think that they are weak, they are they don't have willpower, but that is not the case. It's like I said earlier, we are chemical robots. So if you are addicted, that means you have generated a very, very, very strong feedback loop of dopamine that have created a habit loop, and that runs on autopilot. So even if you know that smoking or drinking is bad, you will do it because your brain wants that dopamine. And there is nothing about willpower in here, because willpower
It has been
power
engraved
is
in our
different.
brains. That's why we are
Yes.
doing it, even if it harms our health. So I think,
Yes.
yeah, I think that's the right way to just phrase it. That's
Yes.
whatever you wanted to do it, just do it in the right way so that it will be engraved and it will be rewired. I mean, it will be
Right.
wired in that way. So,
Right.
one final question for this interview is very simple. So, via this interview, if you want to tell any kind of message to the people who are watching this interview right now, it may be to the kids, it may be to the middle-aged person, old-aged person, or any age category, what will be that one particular message you want to tell to the audience who are watching this interview right now, ma'am?
Heal yourself, because healing your mental condition is as important as taking care of your physical health. So take time. Don't worry about how it's gonna affect or how it's gonna pan out, or don't stress about it. Just heal yourself. And as I said in this interview, there are different ways of healing it. Write a journal, do exercise, do dance, do singing, or just laugh. Laugh is a very good exercise, and you'll just release so much hormone chemicals in your brain just by laughing. So, where your mental health should be your first priority, because if your mind doesn't work, then your body is not going to cooperate. So, self care, self love, self health, self brain love, just focus on healing your brain.
Yeah, take care of yourself, rest everything, God and your physical body and mental health will automatically take care. That's a very wonderful message which we got from you via this interview, ma'am. So, people who are watching this interview, please do subscribe to our Women Today YouTube channel. Please go click on the bell icon so that you can receive notifications whenever I do post new videos regarding women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So, today's our guest is from Baltimore, United States of America. Her name is Sujasha Gupta and she is a famous neuroscientist. So, thank you, Sujasha Gupta, ma'am, for allowing me to host this wonderful interview with you in this Women Today YouTube channel. So that's all about it. We had a great time speaking about neuroscience. So today's your guest is Krishna hosting this Women Today YouTube channel. Today's our guest is Dr. Sujasha Gupta, a neuroscientist. So thank you once again, ma'am. Good evening. Have a nice day, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a nice day.